Welcome to opening day, everybody. Thank you for joining us. As a reminder, in this new press conference room, there are ceiling mics, so you don't need to wait for a microphone. We just ask you please raise your hand, and I'll call on you. With that said, the first question goes to Steve Gelbs from SNY.
Thanks. Carlos, I know that this day is something that you've probably been anticipating for a very long time. Is there one specific thing that you are most looking forward to about your first day as Major League Manager?
Well, honestly, the trumpets. We get to listen to the trumpets. No, but the ceremonies, introduction, special day. It's just like a holiday. Driving in this morning to the ballpark, it kind of hit me. Looking back and every stop along the way. And when I finally, got closer to the stadium and saw the ballpark, he was like, okay, here we go, But I'm really looking forward, our fans, our ceremonies, and, just grateful for this amazing opportunity.
Aside from positive results on the field, what are you hoping to establish as a group early on this season?
Yeah, look, obviously the results matters, But the way we go about our business each and every day, the way we prepare, the way we connect, the way, guys having each other's back, not only players, but staff members, and the consistency, understanding there is 162 plus, and, we're going to go through some ups and downs, but making sure that we control that we can control. And that's the way we prepare, the way we go about our business, how detail-oriented we want to be as a team. That's some of the things that we're looking for. And we're already starting that, for the past 6 weeks. So,
Bruce?
Carlos, how equipped do you think this ball club is to be a playoff team?
Pretty quick, we got a good ball club, when you look at some of the names that we got on our roster, we feel pretty confident that we got what it takes to compete and, be in the conversation, the whole year. And, we know we got a lot of work to do. We know where we at as far as the division goes and how many great teams there are in the National League now. But we feel pretty good about our team. And, I've been saying it all along, not only the players that we got here on the 26-man roster, but our depth, and that's important. So we're excited and we feel good about it.
Abby?
What was the conversation like with Sean Reed-Foley the other day? He said that he came to you guys and was trying to be honest about not being able to throw at 100%.
Yeah, I'm glad he says something, because we talked to him in the morning before the workout, and we've been checking with him every day, since he reported late in camp with, the bicep and things like that. We shut him down, and when we put him in the game, he continued to say he was feeling okay, feeling fine, but I think it was just tentative, like he wasn't comfortable letting it loose. And that day of the workout, we talked to him before we took the field, and then I'm glad after the workout he came in and said something and said, look, I don't feel 100%. He's not too concerned about it. We're not too concerned, but I'm glad he said something after the workout.
Is there a timeline for him?
No, but we don't anticipate this being too long. It's not like he's going to be shut down from throwing. MRI, so structural, the shoulder looks good. He played catch yesterday. I think it's more of a confidence type deal where, he's going to have to feel where, like, he can let it go, and yesterday wasn't the case, or 2 days ago.
Pat, on the right.
Carlos, obviously you guys have who you have today in the lineup. J.D. Martinez isn't here yet, but he's on the horizon. Do you find yourself thinking about the possibility of what this lineup could truly be once he's ready to rejoin your team?
Yeah, for sure. And as soon as we got him, as soon as we signed him, you start playing around with lineups and things like that. But at the end of the day, we have to worry about today, And I'm glad that J.D. is a Met, and he's down in Port St. Lucie, getting ready, getting a lot of at-bats. And, yeah, there's a lot of combinations, and, it makes it easy when you're trying to make a lineup, when you got a guy like that you know where you're going to pencil him in the lineup. But in the meantime, we got business to take care of here. And, I'm really looking forward to our game, to our series here before we get him, and I'm looking forward to have J.D. on our lineup pretty soon, too.
Howie, on the left.
So, Carlos, without J.D.,
You've got Jeff McNeil, who's not the prototypical cleanup hitter, batting behind Alonso. What was Jeff's reaction? What did you sense was his reaction when you said to him, hey, you're hitting cleanup opening day?
Yeah, he's perfectly fine, and was a conversation that I had with him 2 weeks ago, when we're talking about ideal spots and things like that with Jeff, we talk about the versatility that he provides from the offensive side, and he's pretty comfortable hitting anywhere in the lineup. So he was one of those, well, how do you feel about hitting cleanup behind Pete? And I was like, great, I like the back-to-ball skills. This is a guy that throughout his career, when you look at his numbers with runners in scoring position, he's a batting average guy. And hopefully, we create some traffic in front of him, and he'll comes up with runners on base, and he'll give you a tough at bat. He'll put the ball in play. That's what we're looking for.
Along the same lines with Jeff, how do you feel? Obviously, he had a condensed spring. Just about where he is, at the plate right now.
Definitely feel good. That's why I put him on a cleanup spot. This is a guy that is low maintenance. He doesn't need too many swing. He doesn't need too many at bats. He's a natural hitter, and pretty comfortable writing his name in the lineup, and especially a day like today, where he's right behind Pete. Yeah, pretty comfortable.
Daniel?
Carlos, felicidades. ¿Qué se siente ya dar la primera rueda de prensa ante el primer partido de un día inaugural, tú como dirigente, y sabiendo que los fanáticos de los Mets andan buscando la manera de llegar a los playoffs?
Un día especial, un sueño hecho realidad. Obviamente venir aquí este primer día manejando al estadio fue sentimientos encontrados. Una vez que pues tú llegas y ves el Citi Field, pues como que se hace realidad, ¿no? Un día especial, qué honor, qué privilegio, una responsabilidad bastante grande, y el mensaje a los fanáticos es que nos apoyen, porque de verdad que tenemos un gran equipo, vamos a pelear, sabemos que estamos en una división bastante difícil, pero que el equipo de nosotros está bien preparado para dar la pelea y que vamos a estar ahí durante todo el año.
Suerte.
Gracias.
Gigi?
Carlos, me alegra verte de nuevo. Estuviste en el sprint trainer y viste ya todo más o menos del equipo. ¿Tú podrías decir qué tú crees que viste y cómo tú crees que lo va a enfrentar?
Un equipo talentoso, un equipo con muchas figuras, con grandes peloteros, con grandes personalidades, que confían el uno al otro. Muy impresionado de la manera como se preparan, de la manera como conectan. Y esa es una de las mayores impresiones que tuve en estas últimas semanas, en el entrenamiento, ¿no? Que no solamente tenemos un gran equipo de pelota, pero tenemos un gran equipo de seres humanos, y eso nos va a ayudar pues, a conseguir esa química que necesitamos para jugar consistentemente el béisbol.
Anything else? Oh.
Me.
Yep. Sorry. Go ahead.
Your dad was with you for a lot of spring training. I had a conversation with him. He's obviously very proud of you. Did you share any conversations with your dad, your mom, this morning on the way in, and did you share possibly what was said?
No. Look, what a blessing, the fact that I got my both my parents here, my mom and dad. I got a bunch of families, and what an honor, what a privilege, and just thanking God that for the opportunity, not only the one that I'm getting, but the fact that they're healthy and they can go through and experience the whole thing. There was a lot of baseball game yesterday. I watched a lot of baseball yesterday, sitting with my parents, my wife, and kids. But no, it was had dinner, normal conversations, just trying to keep it as natural and as possible. This morning I got up early and just drove to the ballpark, so I haven't talked to them, just through text.
And your mom wanted education for you. That was her push.
Yep.
Has she changed her mind now that she sees you?
Oh yeah, I mean obviously she kept pushing when I became a professional baseball player back when I was 16 years old. She wanted me to be an engineer just like my dad. And now that when I got the job as a manager, but when I became a coach, a big league coach, and a lot of the things that we accomplished as a family, goes a long way, and appreciative of that support.
Very good. Thank you very much, Carlos. David Stearns will be in momentarily.
What is that?
Good morning.
Straight to questions. Thank you for joining us, David. Steve Gelbs has your first question.
David, I know we've asked you some version of this about 100 times already, but is there anything about today where you've come into the stadium, stepped out onto the field, and had this realization that, okay, I'm now running the team that I grew up loving?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I thought about it before I went to bed last night. Thought about it driving in this morning, pulling in. So absolutely, that's run through my mind a lot over the last 24 hours.
I asked Carlos this as well, but aside from the results early this season, is there a specific thing that you are watching for to say, okay, we're on the right track as a group?
I think early in the season, you want to see a team camaraderie and a team energy that you think is consistent, and that can lead to winning baseball. And I felt like we had that in spring training, and so I'm eager to see how we carry that over into the regular season. Clearly, you always want to play clean baseball. I think we have a team that is capable of playing clean baseball, and so I'll be looking for that as well.
Pat?
David, you were confident in this team that you put together a playoff team prior to signing JD Martinez. Now that he's with the organization, what does that do for your expectations and the club's expectations moving forward?
I think JD's a nice fit for us, and we're looking forward to having him here. I also have a lot of confidence in the rest of the guys on the roster. I think it's a team that hopefully will complement all the different pieces pretty well, and JD's going to be a really nice part of that.
Tim?
Which one? What did you learn about your team in spring training?
We're trying not to make too many evaluations in spring training. I think I was impressed by the work ethic, how the guys came together, how our coaching staff came together. We have a lot of new faces in there, including me, including our manager. And so spring training is a great time for everyone to get to know each other, and I think that went very well.
And what did you learn about Carlos in particular in spring?
I think it was just a continuation of everything that we learned about him through the interview process, through the off season. He's a very good communicator. He has the ability to talk to all sorts of different people associated with the organization, and he takes that part of his job very seriously, and I think that's a very important part of his job.
Tim times two.
Carlos mentioned that Reed Foley had an MRI on his shoulder.
Yeah.
What did that show?
He's got an impingement in his shoulder. It's not something that we think is, I think, overly serious. But clearly it was serious enough where he and our medical staff felt he couldn't pitch right now. And I'm certainly glad he said something after the workout rather than trying to gut through this into the regular season.
Laura?
When you look at the various components of the team you've constructed, where do you see your biggest source of strength? Source of strength.
I think the depth that we have throughout the roster is what I'd point to. We understand how important it is to construct not only a 26-man or a 40-man, but really give yourself the ability to go 50, 60 deep over the course of the year. And I think we've constructed a group that should give us a chance to do that. And we also understand that roster construction never really ends. We'll continue to try to improve our team, improve our depth, and improve our organization even as we get into the regular season.
Abby?
Based on what you've seen from Starling Marte in spring training, I know we asked you before if it was realistic or what the realistic expectations were. Now that you've seen him in spring training, do you have expectations, and what are they for him this season?
Look, he's a healthy player, and I think that's a really good start. And I'm not going to put any arbitrary expectations on what we're going to get this year, but I'm really happy he's healthy. I know he feels good. He's in a confident place right now, and that's what's most important right now.
Peter?
Just how meaningful is it for you to have the Harrelson family and be able to celebrate his career a lot this season?
I think it's meaningful for our organization, and this is a person who is arguably one of the more beloved Met figures of all time, someone who impacted multiple generations of Met fan bases in a very impactful way. And so to have his family here today, to be able to commemorate him with a patch throughout the season, I think it's important for us. I'm glad we're doing it.
Tyler?
David, one of your old team, of course, is across the way, and a question about them, like Churio will be making his debut. What do you remember about the excitement within your old organization about him as he came through the system?
Yeah, I think really from the point when the international scouting group over there started scouting him, there was real excitement about what he could become. And he has done just an incredible job working very hard throughout his development, taking instruction really well, and getting better every single year. So, I don't know that anyone could ever predict someone getting to the big leagues at this young of an age, but if you were ever going to do it, you might do it on that guy because of who he is and how he works, combined with an immense talent level. It was a pretty good combination.
Tony?
Now that Senga has begun playing catch again, what is maybe an updated or revised expectation for how long this process will take?
I think we probably need to get a little bit farther into his throwing program before we're able to provide a concrete time frame. But we're making good progress, and probably another, week or two, we can probably map out a real throwing program and get a sense of when he can be back on a major league mound.
Joe?
To that point, how do you see the rotation potentially holding up without Senga throughout these early portions here?
Well, we have confidence in the five that we have slotted into our rotation right now. We have confidence in the guys in AAA. We have to make some really tough decisions at the end of camp to send guys down. And we have guys with major league experience who have had success up here. And we also have some pretty good young arms who are starting in the AAA rotation, some of whom I would expect are going to impact our club this year.
Pat?
You mentioned those arms in AAA, David. You said you wanted to see them pitch in your system this year now that you're here. How much do you need to see from them? How long do you think before you think they could start maybe impacting the big league club this season?
I don't know. I think it's always a case-by-case basis, and it's always a combination of where a player is in his specific development and what are the needs of the major league team. And so these are really tough things to plot out or map out, but certainly we're cognizant that we've got some talented arms down there. I'm eager to see how they take to the AAA challenge. And then I would expect that at least some of them will make their way up here at some point during the season.
Tim?
Tyler mentioned it, but what do you think of your first game with your new team coming against your old team?
Yeah, it's a little unique, but it's fun to see some of those guys over there. Obviously, I have some tremendous relationships. I have a lot of respect for what they do, what they've built, and have great friendships over there. So it's fun to see them. I certainly hope we beat them, but it's good to see them over there.
When did you realize the schedule looked that way?
So I think shortly after it became public that I was taking the job, someone mentioned it to me. I think that's when I first knew.
Abby?
Similar lines, just what is this day like for you? Like, what kind of emotions are you feeling facing your old team, but with the new team that you did kind of grow up rooting for?
I don't know that facing the Brewers necessarily impacts the emotions today. This is an exciting day, and opening days are always exciting. Great day for reflection about the game, about sort of the prospects ahead. So I always enjoy opening day. Certainly being able to do it in this organization now for the first time in this position brings a little bit extra meaning to it.
Rich?
When you look at your bullpen, obviously a huge deal is Edwin Diaz is back, but you also brought a lot of bridge guys in the offseason. How do you feel about that depth and the options that it gives the manager on how to choose how to bridge from the starter to Diaz?
Yeah, I feel good about that. And I've talked about this before. The best bullpens often evolve over the course of a season. So we don't exactly know how all those pieces are going to fit together. And I would imagine there are going to be some pieces that we're not even talking about right now that over the course of the year end up making a pretty large impact in our bullpen. But when you have someone like Edwin at the back end, and then we have the various options we have, all of whom have pretty good arms, I'm confident that we're going to be able to put together a good pen over the course of the year.
Thank you very much, David.
Thanks.
At this time, we'd like to invite Kimberly Harrelson Pulsarisis to the stage. To represent the Harrelson family. They have 23 members of the family here today to celebrate Buddy's career, including 6 grandchildren who will be involved in the ceremonial first pitch. And with that, I hope you're ready for some questions.
I'll do my best.
And we'll turn it over to Steve Gelbs.
Just what did it mean to the family when you guys heard that the Mets were going to honor Buddy with the patch also?
It was an amazing, somber moment. We did it on Zoom. We heard that he would be honored on opening day, which is a great honor. And then to find out about the patches and being worn all year, not just for today to represent, to honor him, was amazing. And then to find out that we had the opportunity of being part of opening ceremonies and the first pitch. You couldn't hear anybody. Nobody said anything. You could hear a pin drop. It was just, my heart sank to my stomach.
It's obvious what he meant to the organization. What did the organization mean to him?
Oh, everything. I mean, baseball and the Mets, he played with them for a long time, then came back and coached and managed. So he loved playing baseball. He did it for the love of the game and for his fans.
Howie?
Kim, what is your earliest memory of your dad as a baseball player with the Mets and your overall recollections of the Mets in that era?
My earliest recognition. Well, I remember the fight. I remember when he came home. I can remember that like it was yesterday. I remember every family day. I can remember for me, during my time frame, I wasn't very great at the bat. I guess I inherited some stuff from my dad. Great on the field, not great at behind the plate. That Pignatano would get behind me and always, urge me on. But the love and support and unity of Family Day was amazing for me. That's part of the reason why the grandkids get to do part of it today.
And what do you recall about when he came home after that third game of the series, the fight?
I remember him being banged up. He didn't really talk about it, but I can remember him being, very calm and somber about it, but you definitely could tell he was in a scuffle.
Tony?
That was what I was going to ask, but I'll ask a different question. Obviously, he was, a public figure, but what was he like, perhaps differently outside of the public eye?
Family was everything for him. I mean, he loved his kids, loved his grandkids. There wasn't anything he wouldn't do for his family. The same for his fans. I mean, he signed autographs anytime. He never turned away anybody. I have memories of friends that still share memories that were in the neighborhood where I grew up who still talk about how they would knock on on the door, and my dad would never turn anybody away. He would always sign autographs or invite them in or anything. So, but I have to say family is the biggest thing for him.
Peter?
You probably touched on it a little bit, but just why do you think his legacy with this organization has prevailed the way it has? And
he's kind, and he was kind. He was generous. He definitely, like I said, with the fans. I mean, there wasn't a person that he didn't turn away. And a scrappy player. I mean, he's tiny, but he got out there and he did it, and he put his heart and soul into every game he went into.
Howie?
I've always been so impressed by the bond that 69 team and the surviving members continue to have all these years later. Is there any kind of similar bond between the offspring, the children of that team? Are you particularly close with any of your dad's former teammates, sons or daughters?
I'm still in touch with I know me and my brother are still in touch with the Sievers. Janelle, Tommy Agee's daughter, we still, him and his, and the mother, we still keep in touch. But for the most part, I mean, no, not really. I mean, I wished I did. It would be great to be able to hang out with all of them. The 50th reunion was fantastic for me, especially because I live in California, so I've been away from this part of it. I didn't get to go to the games like everybody else did, and so Facebook has been fantastic for me to regroup and to be able to get in touch with those people who I haven't been able to see in a long time.
Manny?
How would he have handled this type of recognition and attention he's receiving?
He wouldn't have made it a big deal. He would have taken it in, and probably would have said he doesn't deserve it. But he would have taken it with pride and loved that he was honored, but he wouldn't make a huge deal of it himself.
Mike?
I know you talk to, sometimes when you talk to fans of the generation when Buddy was playing, he was a lot of Mets fans' favorite player, in addition to Seaver. But I wonder if he had, as he went on coaching, if he had favorite players that he liked to watch, or that, you know, some players that he coached that were, you know, particularly special to
That's hard for me because I wasn't around him as much. My brothers or sisters might be able to know who his favorites were. Any of my brothers and sisters, because I lived in California and he was here. So, Dad's favorite player, one of my. Oh, Dad's favorite player? Oh, none of them know. Sorry.
He hired a lot of them. He loved everybody.
True.
Abby?
Why did he feel such ties to this community? I mean, he's from California, but then he came out here to play, and he continued living on Long Island and really made himself a part of that community as well. Just why was he so attached to this place around here?
Because this is where baseball was, and he loved baseball. And bringing baseball, especially with the Ducks, when he brought the Ducks to Long Island, it was, he will tell you it's his biggest accomplishment. Absolutely. To be able to bring the joy of the game that he enjoyed so much playing. It was who he was, to the community and for others to love as much as he loved.
Kimberly, thank you so much for sharing your memories.
Thank you.
Steve Cohen will be in the press conference room at approximately 11:30.
You would draw it, don't you? Yeah, my dad.
so excited to carry
Not too much memory. Yeah, that's